Hey everyone, so today we're here at McKnight Title and we're going to walk you through the process from the title side when a deal comes over to help better understand what they're actually doing in the background and why we need title companies. So here in Texas, we use title companies along with some other states for most of our closings. I know some states actually go straight to lawyers and have them do the work. I like it this way better, mostly for the fact that you have a big staff taking care of all those things, so less things seem to get dropped, from what I've noticed at least. But wanted to come through and have a conversation. Kylie, can I ask you some questions?
Of course.
Sweet. So let's say we have the buyer side, because we help a lot of buyers, of course, sellers and buyers, but the buyer side typically seems to have more questions on what's going on, from what I've noticed. Would you agree?
I agree, yeah.
When a deal comes through from title, as an agent representing a buyer, I get it signed under contract, and I send it to my transaction coordinator, who'll send it over to y'all, or maybe I send it directly if I don't have a transaction coordinator. But either way, you get the deal. The same day it goes under contract, maybe the next day, typically not any later than 24 hours, I would assume. So email comes in, right? You'll throw the quick party, you're happy the agent sent you on another deal, lights are gonna stay on, right? Apparently I'm doing something right. But being you're the one who actually, does a lot of the work that I've noticed, when you get the file first, what do you do as escrow assistant to get everything flowing day one?
So once we get the contract, we will send it over to our title examiners. We'll get title opened.
So when you say you're opening title and you're pulling restrictions and you're doing all that, I know there's something where they have to go back I don't know, to the beginning of time or something crazy to make sure that there's no other interest in the property so you can insure the title. That's what you're talking about, that they start that process of looking through all that?
Correct.
Because I couldn't imagine having to go through all that with the things as an agent we have to already do. And then after that, I know at some point you're going to be asking for money, the escrow and option money, right?
Yes.
Is that the day one also?
Correct. So I will send out my intro email and it will have the options to deliver the earnest money. We can either do a wire, you can drop off a check to any of our offices. And
you'll have I think 4 around this area, a couple in Austin.
Yes, we have a few in San Antonio, we have Austin, we have a few in Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston.
I heard y'all have 4 in Houston now. I mean, these guys are really expanding. Business must be good. They must be doing something right. Is it just Texas? Or
primarily, yes.
Primarily Texas? Okay. I guess we're a big enough state and produce enough business. That's okay, right? And then all those options. So you said, they can drop it off your location. They can write a check, right, and bring it in.
Correct.
And drop it off, sorry. They can wire the money. But there's a lot of mobile stuff now, too. Do y'all have an app or something they can use?
Yes, so we have an app. It's called Zocam, and they can take a picture of either a cashier's check, personal check, anything like that, and it will upload automatically and it'll get sent to our accounting department and we'll get it maybe within an hour.
Holy crap, that quick? See, and that's the convenience factor because, Texas is a big state. Sometimes we'll sell a property and, like I saw one recently in Floresville, right? So that particular property is a good 45 minutes away drive to this office at least, which is our primary office. And being able to use that app, saves you an hour and a half commute round trip time, right? So that's super convenient. I love that for our clients. All right, so earnest money has to be here within 3 days, typically, 3 business days. At 5 o'clock, you have to have all your earnest and option money in to be compliant with the contract. So they're on that. I will say that let's say it's day 3 and they haven't gotten the money, I will get an email, a phone call, just for me to touch base with my clients to make sure, they keep us on track as well. And then how long till you get some of those title docs back? What's the next thing, really?
It can take anywhere between 3 to 5 days to get title documents back.
Business days, probably.
Yes, correct. Right. And get the commitment in. But once we get that, we're good to go.
Okay. So those couple of days, not a whole lot's happening, right? Which it's just fine, because honestly, I'm keeping most of the clients busy. During that time is when we're setting up inspections, negotiating repairs, getting with mortgage, starting, mortgage is really kind of hitting them up during that time also. So let's just say that, buyers and sellers are really distracted during that time with other things. They're not worried about title just yet. So you have that time to figure things out. Is there anything really at that point? Is that when y'all review what was found or what happens with that?
So once we get title back, the first thing I do is obviously I will look and make sure the option period is up. And I will go ahead and get surveys. If we need a new survey, get a new survey ordered.
And see, I love the fact that you said you're going to wait till option period's up. No, seriously, that's super smart. I get people all the time who come in and they're like, oh, we need this, we need that. I'm like, dude, let's not spend another penny until we know for sure we're buying this house, right? Get out of the option. So I love that you recognize that, here. And you're watching our back on that. So you're looking at the existing survey if they have one. I know sometimes they don't have one.
Yes, and then we'll go ahead and get survey quotes for anybody who needs anything.
Yeah, which is super helpful. I mean, We had one recently. I'll give you last week the elevation survey because we had a regular survey, but we did an elevation survey, which was pretty unique. I never really ran into that. And it's because it's on a river and it's a flood zone, and the quotes were all over the place. So that's the great thing about having your title company reach out and help you with those quotes is they have those connections, they know those people. The high end quote was $1,200. We ended up getting all the way down to $500. With the multiple quotes. And again, it's great that you helped. I mean, you saved us $700, right? Had we not, had we taken just the first one. So definitely getting the quotes, is a benefit to your clients as far as trying to save them money. Big thing when we're looking at the quotes also is the time frame. Because, I mean, you may have a quote that's, $500 for the survey, let's say, but they can't get to it for 3 weeks. Well, that just may not work because time is of the essence in a lot of things that you're dealing with, especially. All right, so surveys are good. Title work's good, as far as the history of the property. Escrow money's in. Is there anything else really happening at the title office then, or
So
what
if
do
there's
we
any
do?
HOAs, we will go through and get HOAs ordered for the buyer or the seller, whoever's expense it's at. And then we'll wait for documents to come in on that.
I know that the chance for the buyers, especially because they're the ones who care. The owners, they've already lived in the HOA, they're dealing with it already. So it's really for the buyers. When they come in, a lot of times the buyers will review those. I know on my end. Most of the time, if it's a regular community, no big deal. Where those really come into factor is if they're buying acreage, an acre, half acre, whatever, and maybe they had intentions for chickens or cows. I mean, or a workshop. That's kind of a big thing nowadays. So that's where they get to review those and make sure that everything is as it's supposed to be, as we expect it to be. I know a lot of times in the contracts I write, there's a contingency that once they receive the documents, they have 3 days to back out if there's something they don't like. With that, it's very rare that happens. There is, occasions where something comes in, and I've seen the HOA be behind on dues or something with their statement of accounts, which is pretty worrisome if the HOA is not paying their bills. It's like, where's that money going? And I know you've seen that, right?
Yeah.
So we have to work through that. All that comes in. 9 times out of 10, or 99 out of 100, HOA docs aren't the problem. Other than their timeline, because they can be slow. They can be crazy slow. And trying to force them to be faster is like, it's like working with the government or something. It's like they're going to do their own thing. So you want to get those ordered pretty timely in the deal in order to make sure you have them in time. Once those are in, is it time for closing yet? Is there still more to do?
So we'll double check to make sure there's no liens on the property. As in mortgage. If we need to get a payoff, we go ahead and get those ordered.
Bankruptcies.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, anything, whatever kind of tax suits, anything that goes on property, we clear it.
That was recent. Literally today when I came in, I came in for a class here because y'all put on amazing classes. So I came in for that and then came down to visit y'all and got told one of my deals, the seller, I'm representing the buyer, apparently filed for bankruptcy and they caught it.
The day before closing.
Yeah. We're supposed to close tomorrow, which I'm going to guess that's not going to happen.
Why not?
But again, your job is to protect, the buyers, right? Well, and the sellers, to protect both parties. But in this case, you're protecting the buyer because the buyer's trying to buy it and it's in bankruptcy and there's going to be a big issue with that. So we're going to have to notify them once we get it resolved. They're still looking into that. But had y'all not caught that, can you imagine what would have happened down the road had we bought the property, but the bankruptcy? I mean, that's why the title is so important to do their job, is to catch those things and protect all the parties. My buyers, of course, if it doesn't work out, they're not going to be happy about not being able to buy the property, but they'll be much happier than all that money going out and not actually getting the property.
Agree.
So it's good you caught it, of course. It's going to break some hearts if we can't figure it out, but it'd break more hearts if you let it go through. And then, so you've done all that. You've checked for liens. You've checked for bankruptcies. Checked for, any other inheritance, probably probates or whatever it may be.
Yep.
So are we closing yet, or do we still have more? Because of course, as an agent, I'm always like, can we get to closing? Right? That's always what I'm after. But there's so much they do.
So usually for me, I try to get everything done a week before the closing. So I'm keeping an eye on the closing date. Always. So I try to get everything done. So technically a week before closing, I will, if we're ready, I will reach out to the lender to start getting closing instructions.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
That way we can start balancing with the lender, getting everything ready for you guys for closing.
Right. And balancing, I've noticed, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've done quite a few deals. So I'll see an initial closing disclosure will come out. But it's always this isn't official. We're still working on numbers.
Correct.
It's normally close, but sometimes it'll be off, some $50 fee or $500 fee or whatever. Some little fee will come in that wasn't disclosed in the beginning from the lender most of the time,
sometimes
right?
the lender will have to change stuff, and then they'll send the CD back to us, and then it's just, kind of back and forth getting that final number for the buyer, or if the seller has to bring it in.
Well, and then sometimes it changes on the agent side. Like I've had deals before where there are certain repairs that had to be done, and we set them up to be paid at closing out of the seller's proceeds, and of course you have to balance for all that and get receipts. So you're really like crunching numbers a lot, huh? Like keeping everybody honest, making sure all the money's straight and balanced out to the penny, right? So a lot of times I won't see the closing disclosure. I mean, sometimes it's day of, depending on, especially if it's a short close and it's all that stuff to do. But sometimes I'll see it a day or two before, maybe day of. It's very rare I get a whole week out. That's pretty rare. It is.
We try to at least get it out a few days, the day before. That way the agents can view everything, everyone can look over to make sure they're okay with it.
Right. Now I get to go close if that's all balanced?
Yes, we do.
Now I get to go close. That's all we want, right?
Yep.
We want to change some keys, everybody move some money around, smile, take a picture of the big key. So then we set up closing. Typically set it up both people on the same day, 9 times out of 10. You may have to set up notaries. Sometimes you have to send a notary out to someone, and title helps arrange that. And then all the documents come back in. After everybody closes, tomorrow, Wednesday, right? One person closes 8 in the morning, one person closes at 10 or, whatever time. But I've noticed as long as you close, I try not to have anybody close after 2. And the big thing on that is the wiring, right?
Yeah.
The monies?
Yep.
There's a cutoff time or something,
yes, so
right?
we do have a wire cutoff time, usually around 4:30.
Okay. But if we close at 2, it takes an hour to close.
Then we have to get funding approval from the lender.
Which means like scanning the docs back over to them and stuff, right? They have to review them.
Yep, they'll review everything, make sure everything looks good, and then they'll give us a funding number and a funding approval.
And if that's not done before 4, it won't fund that day normally, right?
Normally, yeah. We'll let all parties know we're funded, but everything, wires and stuff, won't go out till the next morning.
Right. And depending on the people in the deal, sometimes, once it's signed, they're cool with moving in. But then there's also the ones who are like, hey, not until it funds and I see my money. So that's where that 2 o'clock comes in for a lot of my clients. Because I figure, just trying to back into it, if the cutoff isn't 4, that means by 3 you need to get over to the mortgage company so they can review it. Because you don't know how busy they are. You can't assume they're going to do it in 5 minutes. So if we close at 2, it takes an hour, that puts it to 3, gives you an hour to get to them and still hopefully pray to get funding that day. Because I know most people, when they sign that day, whether it's a buyer or seller, they all expect money that day.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're all looking for hey, we're finally here, we're the goal.
They're excited.
Either give me my keys or give me my money. Everybody wants something, right? So that's why, as a rule of thumb, if you can't close before 2, just expect that money may not transfer till the next day. And that's for both parties. So we need everybody to sign. Or even if it's a notary, a lot of times when you send out for a notary, they can fax it over, but a lot of times they want the wet signatures,
so
like overnighted or something.
Yes, so we have to have the originals in hand for us to get funding approval.
Right, so they'll overnight it, right? A lot of times. And then that's where Stacy really comes in. Stacy, who's the actual escrow officer, is the president of Ignite Title here in San Antonio. She's amazing. We all love her. But that's where she'll be coming in. I mean, I'm sure she's involved in this process also.
Oh, yes, very involved. She's always making sure, I'm on top of it and always watching me to make sure I'm getting my deadlines.
She's managing as the president, right? Yeah. But the reason I invited you is because I know that you're in the day-to-day trenches of actually getting this stuff done, right? I know when something's going crazy, I'll call Stacy all the times, but there's times I'll just call you directly because I know she's just going to ask you. So I'm like, look, I'm just cutting out the middleman for a minute. Let me go to the workhorse,
we appreciate
right?
that. Yeah. We do appreciate that because we're busy.
Right. But Stacy comes in, she does all the closings, that's where she'll come in and have them sign everything, explain the documents, collect the money, because also part of that closing when the CD bounces is you have to get the money. A lot of times clients will wire that money in also. And I always suggest trying to wire it in, the money the day before so it's already here. Because again, those banks have wire cutoffs also. So sometimes if they try and wire the day of closing, it may not be there till the next day.
I agree.
And again, until all money changes hands, you don't get the keys. And then we take the pictures, right? So it's always picture day on closing. So now we've gotten to that point. We've gotten to closing. We've gotten to funding. Everybody's happy. We get the big pictures for social medias because as agents, we love a picture with the key. Nothing better on our profile than the, hey, look at us, another deal, right? Social proof is what we call it, social proof. And then title, is there really anything after that for y'all? Is that pretty much that deal is kind of wrapped up? It goes into storage, and y'all save them for 7 years or something like that, I believe, state law. Don't quote us on that, but I think that's state law. They have to keep for 7 years. A lot of times it's good because y'all do keep the records, of course,
Yes,
right?
yes, we do.
I know I've called before to go sell a property that we bought, and the client couldn't find the survey. So sometimes we can call title, and title will
we
give
can
us a
pull it.
reprint of that survey or something. That's amazing because it saves us a lot of money having to get it resurveyed. So McKnight Title is very agent focused and buyer and seller, client focused, of course. One of the things that they give for buyers and sellers, but it's really through the agents, is they have an app we use to do our net sheets, to do estimated payments. And it's so handy to have something like that as an agent, provided by the title company, of course, but it's so handy to have it because people ask me all the time, hey, what's my payment on this? Roughly how much money am I going to net, if I sell it for this price? And with that, I'm able to figure those numbers out on the fly. Super, super handy. I really appreciate y'all having that for us. It just shows how much you consider your, agents as part of your clients, as part of your service. And we really appreciate you for that. And thanks so much for
you.
Well, thank you. Thanks so much for walking us through quickly the process of kind of how title works. I'm sure people will help them, when they watch it and understand what's really going on behind the scenes. Because I know some people think, well, why do I need a title company? What do? It's like, they do all kinds of craziness.
Yeah, we always got something crazy going on.
Oh, dude, sure. I've seen some absolutely insanity that y'all always seem to work out. We're going to find out if they work out the one from today. It's not their fault. They caught it. Let's just hope they have a way to figure it out for us. But thanks for joining us, Kylie. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And we hope to see y'all guys soon. Bye.